Hello, Changguan. Thank you for coming to my podcast. My channel is called Learn by Doing, and this is my first episode. You can participate in our conversation very much. In fact, if we are on this topic, it will be relatively vague. That is to say, I want to talk about data science in the financial industry, as well as some technical applications of AI, and I want to know some of your views. Our conversation is one. To do open. What's your problem? You can also give a feedback at any time. Here, I want to take this opportunity to introduce myself to the audience. My name is Stephen. Then I have a main business experience in this financial industry for more than 10 years here. Then what I am doing now, I am doing research on AI and data science, and then I will post some videos on YouTube to share some data science and AI big language models with you, facing some application experiences. Then you can see if it is convenient, you can introduce one.
Are you okay? Hi, everyone. Then Stephen, thank you for the invitation. And then my name is Joe. What about me? I also have more than 5 years of experience in the financial industry abroad. Then what? Now, there are dual identities. One is a professional trader, mainly engaged in the secondary market, and the other is self-media entrepreneurship. So I don't know what I can bring to you today. Experience sharing, but I'll try my best, hoping to share with you some of my experiences and some views on my entrepreneurial process.
Well, okay, thank you very much for your introduction. I think if you have a so-called experience of such a couple, I believe that there should be many places where data will be used in your work. Then let's talk about another topic now, that is the importance of data science, data analysis in your past work. For example, in fact, data science is more about how can we obtain data, how can we use data or get some insights from this data. It can help us make some decisions, and you can convert these data into some resources or tools that can help us complete a matter. Then can you talk about the past, your past, and the present, and importance of this continued analysis for your work?
Well, everyone should be familiar with trading, right? I'll start with trading first. In fact, there are many different types of trading. You may be used to knowing subjective traders and quantitative trading. The so-called subjective traders are represented by me, or I am the main one. Like me, we have to be subjective traders to operate computers in our own way of trading. Then what? There is also a kind of education called data quantification, which uses big data and then goes. Aligned with the market, quantitative trading, which is a competitive trading method, applies at my level as a subjective educator. Data is used less, but it will also be used, but as a transaction, quantitative transaction sources have very high requirements for this data. They may use a large number of books to support its decision-making in ER. This backtesting and tracking of the data, and then including a future judgment estimation and probability analysis. Yes, so from the perspective of transaction, data analysis or data science is actually not only the future, but now it will be a very important field in the future. Then, even for a subjective trader like me, I will use some data, because when we are doing a review, we are not saying that trading is only about current decisions, but also a review of the future and the past. When doing a review, we have to use historical data, and this historical data will even be extended to more than 10 years. So if there is a better historical data. We say that an analysis and summary of historical data, or an ER logic of historical data, will bring great convenience to our review. This is what I'm sharing with you from the perspective of a trader. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your analysis. In fact, I have done some projects recently. As far as stock trading is concerned, I have a small project about stock trading. Actually, I want to say I also have a lot of insights that is in the process of reviewing this historical transaction in the past. We can see the effectiveness of many trading strategies, and then in fact we can make some assumptions quickly and then verify some trading strategies. I think this can indeed bring us some reference for the future. But I also want to say that because we are entering the industry, there is often a saying that past performance cannot represent future performance. This is actually what we have in advance. You need to pay attention to when you have data. So this, okay, thank you very much for sharing. So let's take a look at the next one now. The problem is to say, that is to say, data in the process of your entrepreneurship, did you drive some decisions of your creativity? What I just talked about is, for example, if we are trading, are there other aspects that have a great impact on you and your work?
Well, just now I mentioned that I have two identities. On the one hand, I am a professional educator, and on the other hand, I am also a self-media entrepreneur. Data indeed plays a role in self-media entrepreneurship. Can't say 100%, at least it's a key role. Before we do a video or do this project, what we value most is data analysis. For example, if we play a card that we think is good, or if we say that we do a good direction, it's just you personally, or we look at what we do as our own angle, but in fact, we have to pass after hitting this thing to the market and then giving it back to us. Data to finally get this direction. Is it right or wrong? So, in fact, from this perspective, data is a key factor in determining where we really should go, how we should go, and whether we are going well or not. That is from my recent video broadcasts and this from the experience of the media. What we think is good is sometimes not necessarily good because you can't get one in terms of data. Feedback, but sometimes we feel that we just want to try the direction. Here suddenly a very explosive video will appear. At this time, we will analyze it through data. For example, this video is watched by more men or women. At this time, we will judge this group of people, its age ratio, or even its regional ratio, and then what? Through these things, we can analyze our audience or the people that will come to our channel. What kind of specifically are they distributed in? What kind of state are they distributed at all levels? Then let's summarize some experiences based on these data acquisitions and then go do the next video planning. And then after several attempts, our current, it can be said that most of the current videos are directions and planning are new planning based on the experience gained from the data of the previous videos. Therefore, data is equivalent to a very crucial one for the self-media industry. One thing is right.
Thank you very much for your analysis. I think your introduction is very comprehensive. Like when you are a self-media blogger in such a job, you are actually making a product. Then after you put this product into the market, you will make this video because of the self-media. When you arrive at this self-media platform, if it is actually heavy, it can actually be said to be equivalent to infinity. But for its algorithm, how can you break through the video? How can you get the highest income or the highest feedback? In fact, it can be said to let you know which direction to go, right? That is, how to make this video better. I think this is really a very interesting and referential scenario. Such a data application scenario is actually not only that you do this self-media, but also that we are doing many things. There is also feedback data, which really includes that I'm afraid of driving further now. For example, for a job like ChatGPT we use now, in fact, for its company, in fact, the total amount of its entire internet data is actually so much. But if it wants to make this model more powerful, it needs more data. So the effective and high quality data is actually for them to develop this product. So when talking about ChatVPR, we want to say, let's expand this topic. As for the big language model, there is already a certain amount of such an application in all walks of life, but it still has some defects. Do you need this more than subsidize your job?
To be honest, I'm very much looking forward to this tool since 2.23. Well, access to it is restricted in all aspects, right? This is it. In the process of my actual work, the application scenario is, well, the one that is neglected or can't be applied is the possible application which has not been habitually developed. We are not used to saying that we should ask for help from GPT at the first time, and our habit is to ask for help from some conventional search methods at the first time. The first and second one is his search. As a result, at present, a domestic search result is not satisfactory to me personally, but some of the times I search. If I don't get the key information I want to get, I think there should be a lot of room for improvement.
Okay, yes, because my topic about A is actually included in YouTube now, because apart from our simple chatbot, which is such an application of our chatbot, it has now been expanded to many aspects, such as the multi-motorcycle model. We can just input some other information, voice, video, and image to the model, and now its output is not only an answer, but also an answer in this multimodal scenario, such as the reply is also pictures and videos. In fact, there are many application scenarios, but it does still have some limitations. Now, I think some research directions are to make it more accurate. One of his fantasies is hallucination. Of course, I think it's not too late for you to start studying this thing now. I think because the current model is better, it should be more accurate in solving your user needs in the future, and it will also make you take fewer detours, because there is also a situation. For example, if we simply rely on this big meta model, his answer will only be based on his training. That is to say, on the one hand, his reply and his knowledge is limited. What about the other? If he says you don't use some tools to do some internet search? In fact, the reliability of his reply may not be valid, so I'll just talk about it poorly. So ChatGPT, I believe you should know it and you should have used it, right? What do you think of ChatG? Do you think it has any advantages?
My first opinion is whether it can be all free. It still costs money, okay? Its functions, in fact, you can feel very powerful when you first come out, whether its data or functions are good. At least at the learning level and at the work level, assistance and labor liberation. I think it's very big. For example, if I want to write a code before, then I definitely have to start learning from the basic code. But now you only need to write your requirements in it, and it can give you the code or even a final program. So these things are greatly, which reduces this, we call it labor or learning cost. This is very obvious. And then add to this, I personally position it in, because I don't have many application scenarios. I personally position it in a, that is, heavy hand. Most of the answers he gave me were something I didn't know. I needed answers that would have taken a lot of time to study before. This is one aspect of his improving labor efficiency and learning efficiency. Then talking about his disadvantages, I personally think the disadvantages may still be, it's my fault. That is to say, in our application habits, I still can't reach my level. I will use it as a daily life thing, that is, whether it is positioned or not, and it is more positioned on the computer side. This, in fact, my feeling is if it can be positioned on a daily life mobile phone and can also be used very downstream, I think it may be more convenient. This, I may be, no. Well, it's not very professional because I don't really use it a lot. Actually,
There are many feelings that are very close to you, such as the work efficiency it provides us. However, if we give him all the things about writing code, in fact, we also need to keep learning the code, because sometimes, the code he wrote, there are some details that we still have to pay attention to and optimize in the future. And then you have scenes when you talk about this life. In fact, I have a feeling that is to say, it is one after all. Chatbot, such a basic design, is the most popular on the mobile app, and it is also to do a question and answer. It is said that applying it to some other scenarios may require some creativity. For example, I shared one with you before, that is to say, let him make a shopping list, and then with emoji, it's not estimated that too many people will do it. Such a boring test. But I remember that after finishing it, I think it's quite interesting, but let most people think that it can penetrate into life. Their company has now developed such new models, one by one, which can lead you to operate the computer according to the needs of your excellent goods. I think the next step of this technology, the core may be faster and faster, that is to say, we can let this model help us act as an agent and we will take care of it. Then I don't know if you have ever heard of the complexity tool. This place is not advertising for it, but in fact I haven't used it because it is charged. Then now I think ChatGPT should be basically enough. That is to say, Why did I mention this tool? Because he is similar to his goal D, but he puts more emphasis on finding some third-party data clerks to prove the validity of his reply. For example, if you ask him his first idea is that he can make a lot of quotations, do a lot of citation, and then let you tell you that his answer is well-founded. Then recently they have also developed some new functions, such as real-time acquisition of this transaction information, including your acquisition of stocks. Do you know anything about this piece of tools, or do you think they have some market potential?
I don't know much about this, but I heard you say it before. I actually want to know about this tool. Is its positioning the same as ChatGPT? Is it just as a knowledge aid tool, or is the specific difference between him and ChatGPT?
My understanding is the accuracy of the model and clarity behind it has little difference now, but he emphasized more, that is to say, every reply he gives is based. For example, if you ask ChatGPT, sometimes you ask him what the big language model is, he gives you a reply directly. That reply is based on his training. He doesn't mean to send it to the internet for verification at any time, or to find a paper to apply for this concept, but he can do it with Perplexity, or he emphasizes giving you a reliable feedback. Well, it doesn't matter. I just mentioned this. I think this tool is quite interesting. Maybe in some areas, such as the use of this language model, or its popularity is not necessarily high or limited, including Italy. In Italy, there are also some problems now. For example, a function of the latest intelligent dialogue like ChatGPT is actually the most limited, that is, it happens to be today. If I remember correctly, it is actually very interesting, that is, in each country it is not necessarily very synchronous, so I think if we make excellent goods, there is also such a replacement for manpower. What kind of understanding do you have, for example, can you trust it? That is to say, he has such potential in the future. Part of the manpower.
That's right. Before, because of me, I have to talk to you about this from my trading level, because I have talked to many people about this alternative work before. And some people have mentioned that you traders will be replaced by AI one day. It can be said that if I just told you about a classified subjective trader and material trading, in fact, quantitative traders are more likely to be replaced by AIT, and subjective traders are less likely to be replaced by AIT. Why? Because subjective traders. The difference between traders in this way lies in the decision-making process. The decision-making process of quantitative traders is based on some analysis of data or some probabilities of data, but the decision-making process of subjective traders is not only related to the analysis of data, but also related to this individual, that is, a person's personality and temper, and then the pattern or grandness of his support reserves is related to many, many things, so it is said. It is difficult for a subjective trader to be replaced by a robot because the robot may not exist and some emotional things in the trading process are right, so it is. Personally, I think, as far as I'm concerned as a subjective educator, it is more difficult for it to replace my job, but it can be, I personally think it can replace some workload in transactions. As for what it is, I don't know exactly, but it is definitely possible. Then as for other industries, I think it is simpler for you, for example, what? Well, video editing in the video industry, these things used to be very troublesome. Now maybe AI, you are, when AI meets and tells him what you want to do, he immediately gives you an animation that may have been very difficult to make before. Therefore, I think the degree of substitution of AI in different fields may be different, and some may even be completely replaced. But what about some? It can replace part of it, but cannot completely replace it. For this, in short, AI is right. I hope it will be helpful to humans. It should not replace humans, but just use it as a helper. If it completely replaces humans, then I think in terms of development, from the long-term and longer-term perspective, there will be problems in human development for you.
Thank you very much for your... So it's very comprehensive, that is, in such an application scenario of this trader. In fact, from my point of view, in fact, we may still AI, because AI is a relatively big concept, because there are many things that are in the limelight now. Invest this fund in the big meta model and the development of some model development robots. In fact, for AI, let's disassemble its concept. In fact, like what you just mentioned, that quantitative trading may use that. Some models of machine learning have some models because we can know what the parameters of each link mean. That is to say, it is a relatively transparent robot, and you can accurately judge what kind of transactions to do at a certain point in time. Moreover, it is impossible for us to achieve such a model that is 100% accurate now. If you tell him what to do, the reply he gives you is the only accuracy, or it is difficult for us to see through such a project and a model now, just like he has a veil. Now, many scientists are trying to make him explainable, that is, he can go and explain it. In fact, this is also a lot of research being done, like what we are doing. I also agree with what you said, that is, he has a lot of potential. But how much is this potential? We need to see that it may still have some differences in different application scenarios. In addition, I also think it is a tool for us to improve work efficiency. In fact, it shouldn't be a replacement for all human beings. Then let's go back to data science and this application of AI in the financial field. In fact, you talked a lot just now. Which directions do you think may become this data science AI in the future, such as South China Sea in the financial field? And that is to say, the future data science AI. What kind of changes do you think he will have in the future?
This is a bit tricky again, so I'll just say it casually because I really don't care much about it. First of all, I think the so-called South China Sea means that there is a lot of room for development. My first reaction is AI, its positioning, and what is it? A person who talks to me, or a tool that can help me solve problems? My feeling is that if he can be positioned as a tool to help me solve problems, it will become a big blue ocean space. Because he is just a person who talks to me, I actually have to do the rest. If he can be a tool to help me solve problems, that is, after I tell him my needs, he gives me a result, and I don't have to do many things. There is a difference in the middle. Now, what I know about him is that he may be able to help me solve some problems to some extent, but he still can't reach my life at all. I am an ordinary person, I am not a scientist, and I am not a computer engineer. I think this is my expectation for it, and it may also become a blue ocean in the future. AI's ER, a set of tools made, it's called Stephen's tool, about shopping list. In fact, it solves the result problem I just mentioned. He helped me to have a conversation. Or, from a set of my demand output with him, I got a list that I didn't have to sort out myself at last. This is a scene that I think can be developed in the future.
I fully understand the aspect, that is to say, the accuracy of its living in the future and the degree of its intelligence. We are also looking forward to this in the future. Data science and AI, this research can bring more convenience to life and work. Finally, let's talk about a slightly biased remark, because I know that there are actually many college students in my audience, because some of them studied mathematics in my live video one day, and then they also studied this. There are college students in different professional fields. Well, what kind of suggestions do you have for college students to study and work now, or because now? Our technology is developing very fast. That is AI. I think it is only one aspect. Of course, as far as AI is concerned, for some of our written work, or that is to say, including some of our work that can be automated, in fact, the impact is quite large, and it is also gradually affecting the way we learn, because many students have begun to use AI now.
Yes, you can gain knowledge from his side. This is the first and second, still have to. This application scenario of AI falls to me personally, and I think it will fall into life. That is, if you divide it into two categories, if you are not college students and don't use this, AI as a tool, then I think it can be used more. Use it because, after all, the most cutting-edge things of the times, you can feel the development of the times. So if you want to devote yourself to the creation of AI. In the field of manufacturing, I think I'm still my personal suggestion, and I should still use this as the main factor. Because what comes out in the end, if it's only in a small circle, it's better to give it to everyone and judge it so that we can get a more objective result. Okay?
Stephen, okay. Thank you very much for sharing. It means a lot. regarding a study and work suggestion for college students. In fact, I am too. This is an attitude of encouragement. Say everyone should know, that is to say no matter what, that is to say is the accuracy of his current output high or low. For a new tool we have to know it instead of blindly avoiding it. On the other hand, I do see that there are many professors and researchers who have many opinions on LinkedIn, that is how they can improve their teaching quality in such a new environment, and that is an interaction with students. In fact, I think we need to work hard in many aspects, that is, as a learner or user, to have a deeper understanding of his words or to know one of his advantages and disadvantages over educators. He also needs to know, that is, how to go. Educating this new student is actually a difficult topic, of course, because I'm not an expert in this field. There are pure bricks to attract jade. I hope I can invite relevant guests to continue to talk about related technologies in my podcast in the future, and I can also talk about the impact of this AI on our life and work. Look, thank you very much, Georgio, for coming to our broadcast room today, and then I hope we can talk about some related topics in the future. Then thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Stephen, and thanks to everyone.
Okay, thanks. Goodbye.
Well, bye, everyone.